you a very short explanation. Recursive meaning the method, right? The function or the submodule, right, is calling itself. Normally, how do you write a recursive? Let me show you. When you want to write a recursive, right, this is your main. Then normally we launch from the wrapper. Remember what I said today. Your wrapper, what is your objective of a wrapper? Your wrapper, right, is to hide complexity, okay? Hide the complexity from user. Because normally when you write a code, right, you are not writing for yourself only, okay? You're writing for a lot of programmer when you are working in a team, okay? So example, if you are writing a big project, if you write a big project, then your project manager want you to complete this project within 1 month. 1 month, I want you to finish debug, finish write the code, finish testing. We need to roll out this application to the Google Play Store already. For example, okay? You don't expect other programmer do the checking for you, okay? Then you only, for example, you write a blah recursive algorithm. You don't expect other programmer know what they need to be careful about. Example, if they example, there is an argument in here, right? Integer n. Supposingly, the n should not be less than 0. Example, if the n is not less than 0, you don't expect other programmer know this. You don't expect other programmer go and in here, right? When he want to use this recursive, you don't expect other people do this for you. If let's say if input is less than 0 and then throw exception, throw illegal argument or exception, okay? You're not expecting other programmer do this. You don't expect other programmer do this. So that is why, right, we do all the error checking in here, okay? We do all the error checking inside a wrapper. You write a wrapper for this, okay? The wrapper, right, will call the recursive algorithm, okay? Recursive algorithm. So what you need to do is you need to check in here. Move this section, right, into here. If input is less than 0, then only throw a government argument exception. Else, by the way, for those who don't ever learn Java before, right, we are not allowed to use break. We are not allowed to use break. If input is less than 0, then throw illegal argument exception. Else only, then you run this recursion code, okay? You are expected to do this, okay? Because you are working in a team in future. Hopefully. I don't know you hope or not, but I personally hope I can work in a team like this. Indentation. Make sure you do your indentation. After you do the indentation, also easier to read. Like this. You are expected to do all of this. That's why when people want to use your method, right, you only need to call this wrapper. You call this wrapper inside the main. He is not calling the recursive, okay? He is not calling the recursive function. Because especially when you're doing a recursive. When you're doing recursive, right, there are a lot of things you need to take care. There are a lot of things you need to take care to prevent the recursive keep looping. Let me show you what do recursive mean. If you want to do a recursive, so what you need to do is you call it recursive n plus 1. Okay, you call recursive n plus 1. Let's say I print the n. Okay, let's call this. Okay, so example, you don't have a wrapper. For example, you don't have a wrapper. You don't go and check anything. You don't check any illegal argument exception, any exception. You don't do any checking. So if I run this code, right? What do you think would happen? This is what it called by recursion. By the way, this is called by recursion. Often you will see the recursion, right? Will call the its on method, okay? Its on function, its on submodule. What recursion do is this section. This section is called as recursion. It will call its on. You can do this in Java. Really, you can do this. Call its on. Oh, very special. Let me ask you. If I call this method, right? What do you expect to happen? What do you expect? Let's say I don't want to put this 10, okay? I don't want to put this 10, I put from 0. What do you think would happen? It will cause a stack overflow, memory overflow, okay? It will cause memory overflow. How? Can you see this? This what would happen, if you run this program, right? Too big my terminal. Let me resize it first. This one, the size is good. Pretty. if you run the recursive like this, then it will become like this. It will cause stack overflow. This is what I said just now. It will cause a stack overflow if you don't have any stopping argument. This is a basic introduction to recursive lah. Okay, call itself, then print like this one. It will cause a stack overflow. Stack overflow. Stack overflow. So let's see how to solve it. How to solve it. If you want to stop, let's say, so how to solve it? So example, if you want to stop at 10 time only, if n is, let's say if n is less than 10. N is less than 10, meaning we'll stop at 9, if I'm not mistaken. So this is how you do it. This is how you do it. Like this. So let's compile it now. This. Now if I run this, in theory, it should work. Like this. If you stop it at 10, if you n less than 10, right, then it will print like this. I forgot to ask you guys that what do you guys think the result is? But never mind lah. What can we do with a recursive? Do you still remember in last semester you guys learned the number conversion? Let's say if you want to divide a number, it's like this. If you use 13 divided by 2, this 2 is the divisor. And this is 6, right? We call it as quotient, okay? Quotient. And this one, right, we call it as remainder. I think you guys are familiar with this remainder, okay? Let's say we call this n. This one is n, okay? This one is n. And this is the remainder. So if you use 13 divided by 2, right, what's the remainder? The remainder is 1, right? Okay, the remainder is 1. So we put the remainder as 1. And then the quotient, right, we will put the quotient in here, okay, 6. And then what we could do, and then we will continue divide it, okay? We continue divide it. Divide by 2. Example, we are doing a best 2 conversion. Let's continue divide it. 6 divided by 2 is 3, okay? And then the remainder is what? The remainder is 0. So long it's not until, so long there is still something, right? So long there is still something, the quotient. So long there is still something, we are going to continue divide it. We divide by 2 again, okay? And then 1 divided by 2 is, the remainder is 1, okay? And then we divide it again, okay? Divide it again. Now what is the answer? The answer is 0 point something something, okay? 0 point something something. We don't care about this one, okay? 0 point something something. Now the remainder is 1. And then how to read the answer? You read the answer by backward. You read the answer by backward. So by 13, right? 13, the answer is 1101, okay? 1101 is the answer.